The city is headed for a disaster of biblical proportion.
What do you mean, biblical?
What he means is Old Testament, Mr.
Yes.
Mayor. Real wrath of God type stuff.
Exactly.
Fire and brimstone coming down from the skies. Rivers and seas boiling.
40 years of darkness, earthquakes, volcanoes.
The dead rising from the grave.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together. Necessary.
What's up, everybody? This is Scott from TheLeftToMetal.com, and it's time for another Memorabilia Minute, a time in which I take a minute or two and share about a piece of memorabilia out of my collection. Today's Memorabilia Minute is about Vengeance Rising, or Once Dead. Back in 1988, I was driving a delivery truck for an ICC, I don't know, some interior design firm out in Princeton and New Jersey. And I found this little Christian bookstore on the side of the road one day and decided to stop, check out their music section, and I discovered this band called Vengeance Rising. And I loved it. I mean, these guys were raw, heavy thrash metal. I just never heard anything quite like it. And vocals of Roger Martinez, they were just nasty. I mean, just not growl, death metal, just nasty, brutal, hard to explain. Roger had a style all his own, that's for sure. But in any case, I remember driving around listening to that cassette over and over and over again, the summer of 1988, I believe it was, thinking to myself, man, if I ever get into a band, it's going to be a band just like this. And yeah, fast forward a bunch of years down the road. Big fan of Vengeance Rising, stayed a big fan of Vengeance Rising. Back in 2002, I was playing in my band, Ultimatum, and we were playing in Metal Mardi Gras out in California, Anaheim, California. I think it was called Extreme Mardi Gras is what it was called at the time. And we were playing with all kinds of bands. There was Barren Cross, Recon, Deliverance, a bunch of bands were playing at this festival, and one of the bands that was playing there was called Salt, S-A-L-T, and it was a band headed by George Ochoa, formerly of Deliverance and Recon, and on bass guitar was Larry Farkas, and on drums was Glenn Mancaruso, both formerly of Vengeance Rising. So, yeah, so, you know, Ultimatum did our set, didn't think anything about those guys being there, but we played our set, and during our set we were playing a cover of a Vengeance Rising song called Burn. And, you know, we played the set, great crowd, walked off, you know, stage afterwards, started pulling our equipment apart, and walking backstage is Larry and Glenn. And I can't remember which one of them said to me, but one of the two of them walked up to me and said, you know what, if we ever do a Vengeance Rising reunion, you have to come sing for us. And I said, you know what, if you ever do a Vengeance Rising reunion, give me a call. Well, back in 2004, I got that call. So, yeah, and I ended up singing for Vengeance, and or what was supposed to be Vengeance, and you know, it was going back and forth because the name was actually owned by former vocalist Roger Martinez, so they weren't sure if they were going to call it Vengeance Rising, just Vengeance. Human Sacrifice was thrown around a little bit, but I mean, right up until the week of the show, it was being billed as Vengeance. And it was, I think, the week before the show, it was changed to Once Dead. That was the band playing, but it was basically just Vengeance Rising, playing all songs from the first two albums. So the piece of memorabilia I want to show is this. This is the set list and the backstage pass from that show from August 29th, 2004. And as you can see, it's autographed by all 5 members, including myself. And the reason for that is because this set list was actually used in the DVD that was recorded for that show. It was supposed to be a one-time reunion, but it ended up being, you know, almost 2 years long, and I was singing for that band. But you know, I went in, I brought albums with me, I brought all kinds of stuff with me to have it signed, because, you know, there was something I learned from a little story from Eric Carr of Kiss. Remember him telling the story of going in and auditioning for Kiss the very first time. And he brought, I believe it was a Kiss record with him, and he had it signed because he's like, I may never see these guys again. And that was kind of my attitude with Vengeance. You know, here I am, a big fan, been a big fan since I was a kid. I'm bringing my albums and my CDs along and I'm getting them signed. Because, you know, I may never see these guys again. No, I ended up, like I said, singing for them for 2 years. We did the show. It was recorded for the DVD. There's actually a photo from that show as well. Larry is signed right here. Somewhere over there. There it is. And, yeah, fantastic show. A little funny about the show, though, is we practiced not the whole band, but bits and pieces throughout the week before the show. I was out in California for the full week, and the day of the show, I woke up and I was sick. I was really sick. I was just not feeling well at all, and I was like, of course, it's show day, right? Well, not only did I have to sing that show that one night for Vengeance, but I also had to sing Ultimatum. Ultimatum was opening the show. And I had to do a full band practice that morning because the bass player, Roger Del Martin, was flying in from Tennessee to do his first practice with the band. So I had a full band practice. Then I had the interview that we were doing for the DVD. And then after that, we had a big band breakfast. By the time the show came on, I was exhausted. But you know what? Somehow, by the grace of God, I got through it because I did the Ultimatum set. Even though my voice was a little raw, I managed to make it through the Once Dead set. And you know what? The raw actually kind of worked for that set. And yeah, so Once Dead ended up putting out the DVD, Return with a Vengeance. The first 100 pre-ordered copies were autographed, as this one is. And yeah, here's the set list. The very set list that you can see on the DVD. As you can see, it's got the Vengeance logo on it as opposed to Once Dead because it was originally billed as Vengeance. We actually did perform a new song that was never recorded for the studio, but it is on the DVD as a bonus track, I believe. I believe they cut it in. And yeah, that's it. Memorabilia Minute. Once Dead. God bless. Stay strong.